We are now live. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tenzin, one third of the SOS podcast. Also, one of the best spitters in the ATL. I just proved
Whoa.
it with the recent post, so you cannot deny. But anyway, enough about me, man. This is a good pal of mine, and a very important figure in my, I guess, faith to non-faith journey.
Mm,
He was one of my pillars.
mm.
Shout out to Treefrog, everybody. Hey.
Hey, I didn't know that. I didn't know that I was an important pillar. So you would say, was I an example of how crazily obsessed that you can get with Christianity and how much to avoid it?
No,
Is that?
actually, it's crazy. Like you and Prasha were like, I don't know, like, well, like, cause I still believed when I was in your presence, like I was still a believer.
Mm,
I didn't have the
had a lot of
Christian label
questions.
out of shame because I took world religions and realized how little I knew about it. But I
Exactly.
still believed. So, but I looked at you and Prasha as like good examples of it.
Oh,
Like,
thank you.
you know what I mean? Because like I don't know, it's so strange, right? Because all these clubs at Valdosta, they're all Christian clubs, but they were all different. Yeah, we had
Yes.
the navigators who were like,
Yes.
you know, more, I guess, trying to get into, I guess, how I saw y'all, well, at least the group that we hung out with, just like y'all knew y'all were imperfect, but you tried to be Christ like, you know what I mean? Like you commended people just for trying.
Navigators was good group, man. They had some. I think they had the right heart at the core of what they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to do. I mean, I obviously, now, because of just how much scholarly research I've done and how much I've dug into my faith myself, I don't, personally believe in it anymore. But I do think that there are some people that actually, read the Bible and actually try to. Now, I do think that this is getting into the weeds a little bit, but I do think if you actually read the Bible and you actually study the Bible, then it can also make you miserable
Oh yeah.
because, especially like the philosophical. I guess we're just getting right into it, if that's okay. Is that cool?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, okay. Especially like the English philosophical interpretation of like the 19th, 20th, 21st century, because, well, they straight up tell you from a young age that the default state is original sin, and the punishment for original sin is that you're going to be tortured forever. So yeah, so you just come out the gate telling like really young people that they're going to be tortured forever. And so for me, you know, I I really thought about that as a kid. Like when I was reading that, I really really thought about it, and it seemed like nobody else really cared about it. But I'm like, bro, have y'all read what this says? Like most people are created for torture, being tortured for, and really right out the gate when you hit Genesis, as a child, I knew there were problems because I loved to read as a child. I read dictionaries, and I would you remember like Japanese RPGs? Did you
Mm-hmm.
play those as a kid or anything?
A little bit, a little bit. Not too much as a child, but as an adult,
As an
yeah, I kind
adult,
of
you
dabbled
like
in
them?
them. Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Well, it's a lot of dialogue, and that's what. And so I would only love games with dialogue and cool stories, and so
See, that was back in the days when the dialogue was like, you
yeah,
just reading the shit. You're like, oh shit, you gotta imagine your own voice. Like,
yeah,
ho, 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 I am taking over, and you cannot stop me. Hey,
yeah.
no way, you can't do that. Well, like I don't know how you made your character sound, but like,
Yeah, yeah. Cloud was always like really like in Final Fantasy 7, Cloud was so mopey and depressed and lame, and like Barrett was like the cool badass that was always saying motherfucker everywhere he went, And it actually turns out that wasn't too far off from how they were. But yeah, I was always reading, man, and right out the gate in Genesis, there's problems with the Bible. From
oh,
problems with not only what it says, but also what
mm,
people are telling you that it says. You know,
Right.
we won't even get into how crazy Hebrew is and how we've only seen like 7,000 words of Hebrew. Like we don't have enough manuscripts of Hebrew to even know really what it meant.
And a quick so let's just say, well, I'm gonna ask this because I know like like Muslims, right? They'll say, you gotta know Arabic, but like ex-Muslims will be like, okay, well, that's like another dialect of Arabic that they don't even understand themselves. So like
Yes.
so someone who understands Hebrew today, will they be able to understand the Hebrew that was written back then, or is that like old English to us
This is a
today?
great
Like,
that is a fantastic question, and I would say I cannot give you a truly scholarly appropriate answer, but I can tell you that the answer is basically no, because there's just there's just not enough manuscripts of Hebrew because, well, people just didn't fucking speak it. Like they just didn't really speak it very often. They spoke Greek. You know, most people in that area spoke Greek or, like you said, Aramaic. And Aramaic, we definitely have more examples of. Greek, we certainly have plenty of examples of. But Hebrew, for example, the word Gentiles. Um, there's like 30 to 50 different possible meanings as to what Gentiles could mean, but probably it means nations. So I'm not a nation, right? Even if the Bible was literally true, I'm still not a nation. So I'm still not bound by whatever laws they think Gentiles are bound by. It's just a weird thing. But right off the jump, it was actually a Hebrew scholar who opened my mind to this in a coffee shop when he overheard me casually talking about the creation story and how confusing it was. I was talking to my
mm,
friend, and he was like, well, there could be like 5 to 10 different meanings of what that story's about. We don't really know.
mm,
And he kind of opened that up to me. But when you first observe it, first of all, they tell you that there's one God, but the term that's used in the beginning there, it's talking about multiple gods. It's saying we, like, and it's using, Elohim. Elohim is a plural term. No matter how you scratch it, it's always plural. And in fact,
okay, I
there are
didn't know that.
multiple aspects of different Elohim throughout the Bible, like the Elohim of Israel, the Elohim of this. And one of the things you learn about Yahweh from other older Mesopotamian texts and Babylonian and things like that is that he was like a lesser Elohim that was kind of pissed off as to this assignment that he got, right? And so
Yeah, I heard that yeah, I heard he could have been like some people say that like he could have been like a war god from another pantheon, but for some
exactly,
reason,
he was the leader of the
yeah,
pantheon in Yahwism, basically.
okay.
What we think of as Hebrew is not really what they were, just Yahwist. They followed all kinds of gods. They had a pantheon of gods like the Greeks did, and
And,
Yahweh was like the head of the pantheon,
and you know what's
right?
crazy? I was just I was gonna actually look into this, but I was watching an interesting video. This guy was telling he was talking about there's a story called the Enuma Elish,
Yes, Nima Elesh. Yes,
and like
yes.
you know how the Bible says 7 days, well, the Enuma Elish says 7 generations of gods was used to
Mm.
create, and then they
Mm-hmm.
sacrificed a god. Yeah, it's like he was basically just saying like the creation story we know isn't necessarily original, and it's like, okay, yeah, people had
100%.
these ideas,
That's
you know
100% true.
and
Yeah.
yeah, like religions get appropriated, people get conquered, whatever happens, like,
Well, with
so
the Bible, so this is actually kind of a new paradigm shift that's happening in scholarly research. What we know, well, let me just say a couple issues with Genesis first, and then I'll get into that because I think you just brought up an amazing point. But right off the jump in Genesis, they're telling you that there's one God, but there's clearly multiple gods. And then when you read the rest of the Bible, there's clearly multiple Elohim. So it's just like I don't know what you guys are talking about. But then, um, okay, so
and why would he be jealous for? Like,
yeah, and also you're saying that they ate some fruit, and that damns almost everybody that's ever been made to eternal. It doesn't even talk about anything about hell in Genesis, but like they just kind of Christians just kind of like at some point dreamed up the worst possible thing anyone's ever thought of, and they're like,
And,
"Yeah, we're gonna teach this to our kids." Like,
then they say like most likely our concept of the current concept of hell was somebody read Dante's Inferno, is like, oh shit, you know what, like
yes, yes, this was not.
and I think Milton had this idea too. That's
Yep.
his name,
And
Milton.
have you ever heard of Zoroastrianism?
Yes, that's like that's a monotheist. That's like an ancient monotheistic.
Well, it was they yeah, it's hard to say that anybody in antiquity was actually monotheistic. Like
I
they
felt that.
believed in Zoroastrianism, but it was just another Yahweh cult, right? Within a
Okay,
and so Yah Yahwehs would believe in all kinds of things. It was just like they had their own pantheon, but Yahweh was the center. But Zoroaster's claim was that you know that you can go to heaven or hell, and if you believe in my teachings, then you'll go to heaven. And if you don't believe in my teachings, you're going to go to hell. So it's, that's the same thing that people say that Jesus said. That's the same thing that the prophet Muhammad kind of said. That's the same thing that every sun god and every messianic figure in antiquity said. And so, well, not every, you can't say every within any of
right,
this stuff,
right.
but a lot of them, it was the common thing. And right off the jump, okay, so they ate a fruit and that damns them. Okay, that doesn't really make any sense. But then apparently the serpent is like the bad guy, but the serpent literally just tells them
The truth.
the truth. And the serpent was another Elohim in that story. And in fact, that this serpent showing up in other older Mesopotamian stories and Babylonian stories, the serpent's
I
usually a
mean,
good guy, actually.
right, and and it shows up in different figures, like Prometheus necessarily isn't a serpent, but
Right,
he
same
fucked
thing.
up and gave the humans knowledge of fire. That was the shit at the time, which is a
Right.
real sacrifice, by the way. I mean, I think to this day he's still getting his liver ripped out, but
Oh, yeah, man, I hope not. He
if that
he is
story's
like the
true,
goat. He is like
um,
one of the goat figures
and
in
the
mythology.
snake, that's also a real sacrifice. He sacrificed his leg so we can.
Oh, I didn't even think. Yeah, that's true.
I'm taking shots. Sorry, Christians. I get to be an asshole atheist with my former
Yeah.
Christian friend. But
Yeah, sorry that we're going there. If anybody like super doesn't like this kind of thing, I mean, it just is what it is.
fuck them.
We've had our own,
Yeah,
yeah, we've
like
had our own
I had
journeys with it.
no. That's okay, T-Fer, because I had to sit through all these God fests with other guests, and just be like, okay.
Right, right.
I
Yeah.
mean, okay, yeah, you're a gangster rapper. You just talked about shooting people in the face, but yeah, yeah, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, thanks, Jesus. Hey, peace. Peace up, bro. Hey,
But
look, I
yeah,
would have took your place, brother. No, like I think the question though is so okay, so we have this paradigm shift in scholarly research where we know for a fact that the Bible is based on older stories. We know for a fact that for example, what the commonly accepted thing among scholars is beginning to be is that it really, I say commonly accepted. That you can't really say that in scholarly world, but
right,
what a lot of them are starting to come around to is that it probably really wasn't as old as 4th century BCE, something like that, 3rd century BCE, and it's because they had the Library of Alexandria, which the world had never seen anything like the Library of Alexandria. I mean, they had freaking automated doors, bro. They had temples with like coin machines that you could like put a coin in and then it would play some music and like smoke and thank you for your sacrifice.
what?
This is like a crazy city. It was like a truly mod. They had like gridded out streets and everything, and they had the first true library really ever in history. And so they were really trying to like, it was like a war of ideas and a war of ideologies. And so the Greeks were really obsessed with the law, and they kind of told some of these Yahwistic lawmakers like, hey, you want to come over here and like make some of your laws? So they're like, sure. And then back then there was no copyrights, so they were stealing
Right,
all
yeah.
kinds. So Samson is really a lot like Hercules,
Mm.
um, and the story of David is based on a lot of different like Odyssey type characters and stuff. So really they were trying to build their own pantheon and their own mythology, but it just really stuck for some reason in
Mm.
a specific part. And the thing is that the Roman government and many governments in the Archimedean, like the Persian government, for example, they were known for hiring people to write propaganda. And this is one of the best ways you can control Yahweh cults, because Yahweh cults were known to be mercenaries and they were really powerful, and they also were like slave drivers and stuff. So that's why you see things in Exodus like, oh, we were actually slaves and we were actually,
Mhm.
the ones that were oppressed. So
Yeah, that was so weird. Like when I finally, like when I saw that, I'm like, oh, okay, so slavery's bad when it's your people, but anyone else, fuck them. Okay, cool.
correct. Yeah,
Um,
they were big time
but
slave drivers.
but
Yeah.
before we get deeper into that, well, I want to ask you this: like, what? Hmm, I want to ask, like, what was that? What motivated you to do this deep dive? Because the last time
Mm.
we were face to face, you were a Bible believing Christian.
Well, I think I've struggled with questions about my faith my whole life, for one. It's like no matter what front I put up and no matter what things that I talked about back then, I always struggle with this infinite hell concept. I mean, there's just there's nothing about it that makes sense. Like, it, there's just no, it's like, okay, if the infinite hell concept is true, then that means that God is fundamentally evil. There's just no way around it, right? Like, we live in an evil universe if infinite hell is true. It's just the
Yo,
only
I,
logical
I say that
conclusion.
I say that joke all the time. I'll be like, "Hey, yo, like if this psychopath is running shit, I'm cooked."
That's what
like
I'm saying. It's like,
literally.
what the fuck even matters? No, I mean, well, maybe you could still say that nothing matters, but God, I mean, nothing is. So I got to this place where I just couldn't find the answer, and it really it was that I wasn't digging deep enough into scholars and
Mhm.
historians. I was looking at Christians for the answer, but they were all just like, yeah, it's true, you know. And
I mean,
so
so like
it's
you didn't make that stop at the apologists. Like what they weren't satisfying you at all.
I mean, well, a lot of apologists I feel like are just kind of well, let me hold on. Let me change what I was about to say. A lot of apologists I find just are not they're just not making good arguments. I don't really know what else to say.
I
Like, they're
mean,
just
they're lying for God. I mean, there's only so many
yes.
arguments you can use. Like, people keep finding more shit out. It's like, like, so
Yeah.
damn. So William Lane Craig couldn't sway you. Okay.
Bro, that guy, and I am thoroughly convinced that Jesus definitely did rise on the I mean, he always has the same type of like illustration in the way that he talks. I mean, and then it got, what really got me with these apologists, like, I would see them make mistakes. Like, okay, Wes Huff is like a PhD, okay? I'm
Hmm.
not a scholar, but well, I am, but like, I don't have the credentials. But I love to
Right.
read and
Right.
listen to other scholars. And like Wes
Right.
Huff said something like, he said something like, oh, you know, in the codex for Mark, there was a gap left intentionally because they knew they were going to find the extra thing later on that they were going to add. And it's like, bro, what? Like, no, there's a gap at the end of all of them. Like, so I would see apologists who they were studying this shit, like they were literally going to school and having doctorates in this shit that were making mistakes that I wouldn't even make as a jabroni. So what does that mean? That means that they're full of shit. That's what that means. They're regularly full of shit, and there's
Yeah,
no
dude.
other way around it. Like,
I remember, and I remember this is when I was in Clayton State actually. So I was like, so I hung out with BCM a lot because I wanted to probe, and I learned a lot from them too.
yeah,
But one of them convinced me to read More Than a Carpenter by something McDowell. I read it,
Sean
and
McDowell,
I
maybe.
I
Yeah,
believe
yeah,
I read it, and I was like, yeah, these arguments don't sound like somebody who actually thought about it. And
right, right.
he had this one interesting argument where it was like, well, is Jesus is either a liar, he's either the
Oh, the C.S.
Lord,
Lewis thing.
or
Yeah.
he's a lunatic.
Hmm.
But my thing is, I'm like, okay, that only makes sense if you already believe he existed. I mean, why can't he be a myth? Like,
Right.
like I don't.
Well, yeah.
So but I guess that was supposed to be like the big, oh, gotcha. But it's just like,
Well, he's okay. but he's
No, he was
making that
also a former atheist, so you know he knows what he's talking about.
right. Like he experienced love and light in a service, and he had a coming to Jesus experience. But yeah, I mean, okay, so that argument, the problem with that argument to me is C.S. Lewis makes this argument, but he's coming at it from the perspective of John, where Jesus claims to be divine. But in the Synoptic Gospels, Mark is the earliest gospel we have. John is definitely the latest, 95 AD. John Mark's like 70 or something like that. Um, in the Synoptic Gospels, Jesus does not claim to be God. Okay, he doesn't. Like he just doesn't. Even in the scene where he's like healing the paralytic or whatever, you know, it's Jesus's opponents who think that God is the only one that can forgive
Oh,
sin, right? And he says, "But so you will know the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins. Take up your mat and walk." Well, this Son of Man,
oh,
you can talk
oh
about the Son of
man.
Man for a million years, but in a lot of cases, Son of Man was a meme that meant human being. So you will know that human beings have authority on earth to forgive sins. Pick up your mat and walk. And, they didn't have anything. Because if he would have said that he was God right there, they would have stoned him, right?
Mhm.
So all of these divinity claims were pretty much all introduced by John, and it almost certainly wasn't actually written by John of Zebedee. It was just a guy who said,
Interesting.
"Hey, this is of John." Um, so that there's a lot of problems with that. Yeah, so that's the issue that I have with that claim. You're claiming that Jesus claimed that he was God, but really only John claimed that. So
Hmm.
it's pretty likely that he was a real person, that Jesus was a real person, just because how many figures in antiquity do you have four biographies about? Really
But
not
like with
many.
a,
But
I don't know, but like with
I'm not
someone,
saying that everything they said about him was true, though. I'm just
right,
saying it's pretty likely that
right.
somebody did exist.
Yeah, there probably was a Jesus, but just not this Jewish wizard that they're talking about. But
Yeah.
there's another. But I guess there's 2 points I
And he
hope
could have been
we
a
can
wizard,
cover.
but I don't
Yeah,
think that I think there's a lot of wizards, maybe. There
but
could have been
I
a
don't
lot of
know,
wizards throughout history.
but I guess like when you say shit like only through me can you reach the kingdom of heaven or something. I mean, you're kind of claiming you're some sort of divine, right? I
And that's
mean,
all in John, though.
oh,
That's
okay.
that's specifically in John, and it seems like that those ideas sprung up in a specific kind of section of Christian followers. Um, and I think that one of the common theories that like Bart Ehrman, for example, has that I'm kind of fond of is that they didn't think that Jesus was just going to get like owned like he did at the crucifix. Like they didn't think he was. They thought he really was going to be like the coming king. And so when he died, they were kind of like, all right, well we gotta somehow make this make sense. Like he
Hmm.
must have actually been the coming, and he was like doing it for the atonement of sins. It's like so that's kind of where he's leaning towards as the theory of how it developed into it. And the question though is, okay, knowing what we know about the scholarly historicity of it, why then do so many people follow it? And the answer is because they actually do have a powerful experience of like love and light and energy and rising frequency and all this stuff in church services and stuff. And so what's going on with that? Well, you were asking like what sent me on this deep dive. Well, a lot of it was actually what I learned while working at the government. So I was a programmer for the government. It started off through IBM. That was what I did officially was through some DoD projects or whatever. Unofficially, it doesn't really matter what I did unofficially because I can't prove any of it. So I could just be some idiot just saying something to sound interesting, right? But so I won't really get into that too much. But I can talk about some of the things that are public knowledge now because so many whistleblowers have come forward, right? And one of the things that they've claimed is that these fear-based belief systems are literally used to control us. They utilize these religious structures and ideological structures to keep us in fear because fear is like such a low frequency and it just keeps you kind of like a slave mentality, right? And so learning that kind of stuff, and also just doing some research into certain CIA projects and certain things that I was exposed to while working on those projects. I mean, you learn that, like, for example, all all politics is basically paid for. Like, we send money to all the news stations just to keep people distracted. Um, Political personalities are just like also just there to entertain you. That's the only reason they exist. Um, and yeah, and religion is basically used to program people and control them. So that sent me down. So what are some things that we did find out? Well, it's like in the 1940s, we learned that you can destroy most sentient life with a few bombs, right? And as that improved, we learned that we could do it really, really fast, and we could make really big bombs, right?
Right.
So that means that we collectively, as human beings, we are all powerful. That's what that means. Um, so once we realized that we were all powerful, um, we wanted to see what we could find. Like, we were all powerful externally, right? So
Mhm.
then we wanted to see, okay, well, are we all powerful internally? Can we look into that? So they spent like 20 years working on, like, the Gateway Project. Have you heard about that?
The who?
The Gateway Experience Project, or the Gateway Tapes, or
Gateway.
any of that stuff? You ever heard of that?
No.
Okay, so what they realized is that you can, like, synchronize your brain hemispheres with, like, sound waves and some little tricks. And if you do this and you follow certain techniques, you can, like, experience more of base reality, basically. And so you can kind of, quote unquote, learn to go to the other side, as they say. And so learning this stuff made me realize, and also just researching some of their knowledge, it made me realize, well, people have experiences with love and light all over the place. People have experiences with miracles all over the place, in all kinds of cultures, in all kinds of ways. I mean, even atheists experience, like, synchronistic moments in their life, or, like, even somebody who doesn't believe in anything can have an extremely powerful love
Yeah.
experience with, like, hanging out with their friends, or, like, smoking with their friends and just vibing with
Mhm.
music, or whatever, or just being generous to someone and seeing that come back. So realizing that, it's like, okay, humans are just powerful. They just are. Like, we just have abilities that, in a lot of ways, the government has kind of intentionally kept us under wraps with. And so I think that learning those things, and also learning a lot about the UAP topic while I was working at the government, just, we've had a crash retrieval program since, like, the 1940s. We reverse engineered technology, and it does impossible shit that's, like, really amazing. And a lot of it is, they're piloted with consciousness. That's fucking insane. Like, how is that even possible? So
What,
that
like
means
the
that,
Avis or the Gundams or like
yeah, it's literally piloted with consciousness, is
what's
the
it called?
like the UAPs, like
UAP,
yeah, like unexplained aerial phenomenon, as they say, or
unexplained
UFOs,
aerial phenomena.
or
Oh,
just
that's what
like
they're
really.
calling it now. I like UFO better.
Yeah, 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 me too. Me too. I like it better too. But anyway, so learning
What
about a
is
lot of
this
that
woke
stuff.
agenda? UAP.
Yeah, woke it. That's a good one, dude. So I think learning that stuff, it made me realize that the universe was actually just a lot more interesting than I thought. Just by itself. You don't even need. I mean, you can have fun with mythology if you want. Like,
Yeah.
beliefs are kind of like little toys you can play with, right? But I realized that just the universe, and just, yeah, base reality, base existence itself was just super interesting. And so it
Mhm.
just made me.
Yeah, and that's what I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's what kind of grinds my gears sometimes with theists. They be like, "Well, I just don't understand. I mean, you just don't. I mean, how do you look at all this wonder and not believe in Jesus?" I'm like, how do you look at all this wonder and cheapen it with mythology? Like
Yes.
we know, like we now
Yes.
know, thanks to the questions, that as much as I like to make fun of ancient people, like I like calling them stupid just because, like, it's just funny. But I know they're not. But
Of course
it's
they're
just
not.
like, yeah, I mean, but they were smart enough to ask the questions that eventually got answered. I mean, it took some beheadings, but when they finally was ready for the answer, we got it. So
Yeah, and I mean, I think that they really. I mean, if you have you read much Plato?
Plato.
or have you read some ancient philosophy? I mean, because if you read Plato, dude, I mean, he straight up tells you that they basically come to the conclusion and they logically argue it in a very powerful way. I mean, these people were smart in ways that it's hard for me to wrap my brain around. Like, but basically that what we call God is, a unified field of consciousness of which we all kind of just exist in. Basically like
Mhm.
the universe experiencing itself. You've heard that meme,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. And that's sort of where I'm at now with my belief system. I mean, I think that I don't really know that I'm that much different than an atheist, I guess. I think I believe in a little more magic than maybe a traditional atheist might, maybe, but
I don't know. You could be like some of those Native American cultures where they think, nature itself is God, like
yeah.
life itself, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I do vibe with that a lot, but mostly I just think that we're just experiencing things. I think I could go deeper with that, as if I think that this place is like a really kind of like almost like a school, almost like we come here to like learn things, or just experiencing things, or don't learn
Mhm.
things, or create meaning or don't create meaning. I kind of messaged you that one time, like that's kind of where I'm at. It's like it doesn't really matter. What
Yeah.
do you think you're passionate about?
Mhm.
What excites you the most, from moment to moment or from day to day? Follow that.
Oh
Follow,
man. I
follow
needed
what's passionate.
hold on. I needed this conversation because oh boy, because so today at work, we had a workshop. We went to the local library. It was an all day workshop thing. It was really fun. But
Mm.
man, I swear the keynote speakers kept turning it into a fucking god fest, and I was like, "Y'all don't shut the fuck up with that shit." If y'all believe we about to get it churchy in here, but to their credit, they
Yeah,
did acknowledge that it was their personal beliefs, and so
sure,
I give them
sure.
credit for that. But I'm like, all right, nigga, like stop it, like but
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's
man.
it's just a mythology, I feel
And
you.
he said,
Mm.
and I get that, because people and again, this also would grind my gears. Like, so just like you, I also had like problems like from the jump with faith because I learned about dinosaurs before Adam and Eve. So,
Yeah. Yeah, me too,
but
actually. Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know if I learned about it before, but I loved dinosaurs as a kid too.
but
Yeah.
be that as it may, I mean, you're an I'm an American. You know, my mom says it's real. Hey, it's real. Shit.
Right.
But I don't know. It's like I guess like when I came out of Christianity and I saw how sensitive people were about it, and I was just like, hold on. I mean, now granted, I mean maybe
Yeah.
my jokes were a little bit more on the edge, but still, it's just I don't know. Like like back when I was a Christian, it was like I'm sorry, I literally believed that I was worshiping the most powerful motherfucker in the universe. So
Right.
whatever you said about him was not gonna
Yeah, it just doesn't matter,
harm
right?
me. Like, I was more afraid for you because, because I knew how
You might
petty
be
you
tortured
were.
forever.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just never understood like that, like, oh my gosh, South Park done made a joke about okay.
Well, I would say that yeah, out of everybody that I get responses from on anything I ever post, like, or anything I even see online, like fundamentalist Christians are like the meanest people usually. It's
And they
really
have a
wild.
victim mentality. It's
Yes, yes,
you know,
and I think it's because, well, who knows? There's probably as many reasons as there are people, but I think a lot of it too is just that it's kind of just a miserable way to look at existence.
yeah.
If you think that the default state of most human beings that are alive today and most human beings that have ever existed is that they're just gonna be burning forever, like what the fuck I mean, that's really the biggest thing for me is that I'll talk to Christians about this and they'll be like, well, I've just never heard of anybody who even thought that was a problem. It's like, well, that's
Mm,
fucking weird.
yeah. And
It's
that and
weird.
and that's what
It's weird that you don't think it's a problem.
that's the
Um,
and that was one of the things I appreciate about you and Prasha. Because yeah, y'all believed in hell and stuff, but I don't know, y'all didn't lean on it like that. But also y'all both kind of live well. Precious still does, but I mean, you do too. I mean, because you're still a good person, but yeah, I mean, y'all just lived. y'all just lived that life the best y'all could.
I mean, I like to, the whole time that I was, what's funny is that the whole time that I was like into Christianity so much, it's like I still just wanted to, I still struggled with like looking at naughty stuff on the internet. I still
Of
struggled with
course.
with, and it's
Right, I know.
funny. It
Like they just demonize sexuality to the point where it's like it's struggling. Like, no, you're just getting it off.
Yeah, and lo and
Yeah.
behold, America is obsessed with sexuality. Like,
Hmm.
I wonder. And like the most people watch more porn in the Bible Belt states than
Of
anywhere
course.
else. Anywhere else. And so it's funny because I never got free from that until I left Christianity. It's so
Interesting.
weird, but
Right.
like it's like once I got away from the fear of worrying about it, I just realized like, yeah, I mean, it's cool. I think it's I like
You're
looking at that, but it's not something that I think about or go to anymore because
right.
it's there's just
You
more interesting things,
you remember
right?
that you remember that navigators retreat we went to?
Mm-hmm.
And I
There's
don't
a few of them.
it was so I think it was like a little sleepaway camp kind of thing. It was like
Mm-hmm.
me, you, Marvis, dang, I forget his name. I think his name was Tony. Yeah,
Yeah, I
and a
remember
couple other
Tony.
boys.
Yeah.
Um, and Justin and his now husband, I think. I don't know,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah, Michael. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
Yeah, they're
anywho,
doing real good.
I remember we had like this one small group with this older gentleman. He was nice, but it was just so funny because he was like, and because he made it just sound so drastic, but at the time we really believed how drastic it was. But it was like, if you get that urge, just get that urge to defile your body. Just sometimes you just got to get it over with. The faster you can. And we're just like, because my
I
mom, I'm
didn't
like,
remember that until you started telling it, but I do remember that now. That's really funny.
which is like, I couldn't get it over with anyway because I'm in a bay with like a whole bunch of other niggas. I can't.
Yeah, and there was
You
fine
know,
girls all over the place.
were there
At the
women there? I thought it was all men.
not well, it was like it was like I think the one you're talking about was like it was a co-ed retreat, but then we would just go off into our own like little
Were there
groups.
women there? I'm trying to remember. I guess there was women there. Okay, I didn't remember.
Yeah, I think they were in their own little building though. We didn't really
Okay,
hang out. We would
okay.
just like sometimes hang out with them, but like I mean, yeah, it's funny the way that Christians talk about that because okay, they're trying to use the Bible for advice on how to handle like these like sexual feelings or these feelings of
Hmm.
attraction or whatever. But the Bible doesn't really telling you anything on how any good advice on how to handle that. It's like Jesus says, well, if you look at a woman lustfully, then you've already committed adultery with her in your heart. So
Don't
you need to
engage
cut
your
off
eye
your
out.
arm. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, that's not, you didn't
Well,
help
but
me at
well,
all,
well,
dude.
those fucking idiots didn't have sex ed back then, so I mean,
Right.
you can't blame them. And I know they're not actually idiots. So the people who's gonna, I can see some historians like first and foremost are not dumb, but
Right,
I just
right.
call them that, okay?
No, they weren't dumb, but yeah, it is fun to talk about
Like
like that. But
compared to us, they are okay, but
well, I think compared to us, they
well,
had less
knowledgeable.
knowledge. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they had less knowledge for sure, but they were smarter in a lot of other ways. But yeah, the way that men end up thinking about this whole like sexual attraction thing, it's like I just gotta like, I just gotta like really make sure I don't feel any of those feelings. Like, well, that's not possible because you're a
Right.
human being.
You're gonna
So
feel.
so really what I've come to understand it as, everything is energy. I just think of everything in terms of energy. So I think of it as like it's like an energy exchange. So if you don't want to be controlled by that, then you just like imagine it just sort of flowing out of you, just that's a very like
Hmm.
ancient Chinese kind of concept or whatever. But just imagine that the energy's flowing out of you instead of playing around with it too much up here and being weird out
Oh,
here, and
yeah.
if you do that, then I find that there's a lot of freedom in that, and then you can just enjoy beauty naturally
Mhm.
and you
And
don't have
that's
to freak out,
and that's crazy because that's what I had to do with my struggling faith. Like there was that fateful day I can never forget, summer 2011. I just got done watching Zeitgeist, and luckily I
Oh,
had some knowledge before that because there were some things I clocked. I was like, hold on, that's not accurate. I took notes and I did further research, and I'm like, okay,
yeah.
yeah, some of that was, but I mean, the gist, the overall gist, yeah, I agree. That's like, but the death nail, which I don't know. I say the deconstruction, like people deconstruct every day. So I
Yes,
think this
yes.
path is ongoing, but but I guess
That's
the
a
death
really
nail
good
for me
statement.
personally was just, damn, okay, hold on. I just learned that, well, I had world religions too. So okay, now I know that there's older religions than Judaism, and
Yep,
in the beginning, you weren't the beginning, and it's like,
yep.
like you said about the sexual energy, I had to just let the belief just like shit turns into, you believe this shit anymore? No.
Yeah, there's no going back. I mean, once you learn the true historicity of it, like you're saying, just like how young it actually is, there's no going back. I think that,
But
and and
like, and that's
and
the
thank
thing.
God that the
I'm
universe
sorry.
is this interesting, right? Like, thank
Yeah.
God that I say that ironically, but thank God that
Hmm.
things are way more interesting than we thought. I mean, if that's really what it was, then what a shitty universe, bro. Like, wow.
I know, right? It's 6,000 years old. Somehow, some way, we just into existence. Women came from ribs somehow, but we still had our belly buttons. Snakes used to have legs and could talk. So could the donkeys. But I was
Right.
gonna say, what was the and I guess, well, I lost it. I had a train of thought, but yeah, just
Oh, I
letting
kind of
that.
interrupted it a little bit. Yeah, but you were saying like kind of like the
Oh no,
linchpin,
yeah.
like the nail in the coffin.
Oh, oh no, yeah. That's I said that. Yeah, like just that. Yeah, just knowing. Oh yeah, there's older religions than it, and also just like being in world religions, because I talked about Greater Grace Baptist on a previous episode, but Pastor Menzies, that was the pastor. Yeah, he really, like, he was my first experience with like hellfire and brimstone,
Mm,
and he was pretty fundamentalist, like, and he
yeah.
got political too, like back then it was like '08, it was like McCain is God's president, and I was very conflicted because to him homosexuality was evil, but I knew good gay people. Abortion is bad, but I'm like, well,
Yeah.
they kind of need it. But like my mind was fucked up because I'm like, well, damn, this is what Jesus wants. But
Right.
it's just,
It's hard to reconcile all
mm,
those things. Yeah. It's hard to
right.
reconcile it with
So
reality.
so basically, I know how, thanks to Pastor Menzies, I know how unforgiving God is for even entertaining other
Yeah.
gods, right? Like, don't even think about it. I will fuck you up. But I remember
It's the
for
first
world
commandment.
religions, I read the Bhagavad Gita and I read the Tao Te Ching.
Mm.
Both of those books was really making sense to me, and I instantly got scared because I was reading the Bhagavad Gita, getting really captivated. Like, does will Arjuna kill his own family? Will Krishna be able to? It was a real page
Super
turner,
interesting stories.
and I
Yeah.
started getting scared, Tree Frog, because I was like, holy shit, I'm resonating with this, and I don't
Yeah, the
think I ever
fear
felt this
kicks
way about
in.
the Bible before. So, like,
Yeah.
God's gonna choke me in my sleep, But and also the Tao Te Ching. Like, first of all, I liked
I'm
how it
just
was
now
short.
reading that for the first I'm just now reading that for the first time, actually. I
Yeah,
got it right back
and
here.
most of
That's on the
the
top of my.
yeah, and I have to say, man, shout out to Lao Tzu or whatever his name is, because yeah, like it was just common sense shit in there. Like there wasn't. Yeah, they mentioned a creator, but I don't know. Like it didn't feel like dogmatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
Like,
almost like can't even speak of it. The Tao is like unspeakable, is kind of what they say. But yeah,
yeah,
he
like
talks a lot
because like,
about getting rid of desire and letting go of. It's like those who
mhm,
stick
like
themselves out
Buddhism
there.
too, in a way. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, it's given me a lot of peace reading it, honestly. I've been meditating on it a good
yeah,
bit at night.
for some, I want to reread it. Like for some reason, the one passage that I remember from it, like very vaguely, but I'm gonna paraphrase it. But it was basically just like, like one who rules over his nation too harshly eventually gets rose up against, and it's just like, yeah. That is true. Like, like,
Yep, yep. There's a lot of wisdom in
but
the art of war itself as well, which he based a lot of, Sun Tzu, if he did exist, or if he was an actual real person, not just a collection of dudes.
mhm.
Um, they base their philosophy
See, a
off of
lot
the
of
Tao Te Ching. Yeah, it's pretty
and so
cool.
I'd be remiss too to not ask you about your music, man. I mean, shit, man, we definitely talked about faith, and I'm glad. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, how's music been treating you? You started off, gospel, and you know, ventured off into rap, that whatever that
Oh.
Linkin Park shit is.
Yeah, I released some tracks on all platforms, and then but lately I've just been kind of making beats and putting stuff on SoundCloud and getting with FL Studio. I've been enjoying that. I released a single on all platforms called Floating Spirits. This is a beat, But other than that, I've been just posting me and my guitar playing or just doing some raps. Hip hop's just fun, man. Rap is just so fun. I think that
It is.
lyrics come naturally to me. I think the delivery is something I want to work on more, delivery and confidence and that kind of thing. But it's been a lot of fun, and I'm gonna be trying to do some like local gigs around here pretty soon in Baton Rouge, trying to just play at some bars or
Okay.
something.
I was just about to
So
ask, like, what is the Baton Rouge scene like?
not great.
Have you been in it? Not great. Okay, like what's the like? It's like open mics. Like what's the opportunities like for indie artists over there?
Yeah, there's some open mics, and there's really I'm just trying to look for. I kind of just want to make money right now. I kind of just want to. So I'm just like learning a set list of what people want to hear because I just want some extra
Hmm.
money. But really, if I wanted to do like more indie stuff, it's like Lafayette and New Orleans. That's where the best scenes are. And luckily, I do have some
And
friends that
how
got
far is
some
that
bands
from
out
you?
there. Huh? Oh, it's
How
like an
far is New
hour,
Orleans from Baton Rouge? Oh, okay, okay. So
like an
you'll just
hour
drive an hour
15,
to the
something like that.
city and be like, okay, cool.
Not
So,
too bad.
okay, so you are releasing music. Good, good. So like
Yeah.
you've worked with a band. What happened with that?
Oh, well, I mean, people just grow up like I say grow up. I mean, you don't have to grow out of music, but one of them became an actual rocket scientist.
Oh shit, okay. Shout
uh,
out.
another
You got your
one,
scholar.
yeah, yeah, he's doing good stuff. Another one is he's doing like he's working for a sound company, ironically, and then another guy started his own like construction and renovation business, and he's making good money. And then the girl that was singing with us moved away. She got married and moved out. So which is
Hmm.
unfortunate. She was a really good songwriter, man. Yeah, Logan was
You ever
really
want to
really
do like some
talented.
movie type shit? Just they're like, they do in the movies. Just reach out to her one day, just be like, "I'm getting the band back together. Come on, we just gotta ride one more time."
Yeah,
You
yeah.
think that'll work?
I don't know. Well, see, it
Hit up the
unfortunately.
rocket scientist.
Oh yeah, no, he likes that money, but I think that unfortunately, I mean, I don't want to lament about it because it just is what it is. But I think that I was dealing with a lot of issues with my faith, like while we were kind of a band, and so I was dealing with a lot of depression and like just it was hard for me
So
to
were
get
y'all a
into
Christian
the.
band or something? Or
No, 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 no.
okay,
It was more like I was under this delusion that like God didn't want me to hang out with didn't want me to make a band with like people that weren't really living like that or weren't really, like it was like really
mm-hmm.
twisting me up in a lot of dumb ways. And uh I don't know. I could talk more about that, especially with Logan, but that was me and Logan were cool. She was a good songwriter. She was a good friend, but ultimately, she just wanted to go do other things. And I think I was just in a weird place, mentally. So it was hard for me to get passionate about music back then, which is unfortunate because it was like the perfect time to get passionate about music. But
Right.
it just is what it is. Now I'm passionate about it though, and I'm just gonna keep making
Okay.
some beats. And I've been doing like deliveries and freestyling while I'm riding around my car and having fun with that, you know. So I'm gonna keep releasing stuff for sure.
So what like I was about to ask, like, so like, do you still make like, like singing tracks? Like, do you still like you still sing and stuff, play acoustic?
Yeah, yeah, that's how I'm gonna try to get some gigs around here. I just
Good,
submitted.
because there's a cover I want you to do. I just think you
Oh,
sound good doing it.
okay. Which one?
But like you're gonna hear the song title. You're gonna hear what it is. You're gonna be like, oh my god, you sound like everybody else. But I think the band is called Stained. I think you know what song it is.
Oh, Stained.
Yeah, what's that song? It's been a while.
Oh, it's been a while since
Yeah,
I could hold my
yeah.
head
Like
up high.
you got that
Yeah,
raspy voice. Like
yeah. That dude is such a good. I love his stuff, bro. No, I
you
love
know
his
what
stuff.
though?
I
Like
actually think. I mean,
I remember I heard that song. Oh, go ahead, go ahead. You
I
said
was
you met
saying
him?
I no, I was gonna say that I think that like that era of music doesn't get enough credit these days. You know, it's some
Oh
really good
man.
stuff from them. So
Yeah. It's crazy. So I had a. Whew. Well, I'm a touch. This will be my first time even. No, it's not necessarily my first time. It's my first time touching on it on YouTube. But hey, Big John. But anyway, there was this woman in my life who I had feelings for.
yeah,
She didn't have them for me, but we were still friends. But
yeah.
long story short, I ended up, really offending her, and she wants nothing to do with me. So I
Mm,
remember I was
I've been there.
I was showing my little cousin who's 13, like, just some classics, like, hey, Kelsey, I'm gonna show you some classic white people music. So I played that. Luckily, like I kept my poker face on, but I started thinking about, her, like not
mm.
Kelsey, but the woman, and it's like, damn, what I'm saying? And what was that one lyric? It's
Since I
like
gonna fuck things up
up
again.
again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I mean, but now I have a healthier outlook on it. I mean, I understand that we were bad to each other, but not necessarily on purpose. It's just
Yeah.
we just never had the conversations that needed to be had. So it just, but I'll touch on it more with you
It's a
privately.
challenging it's a challenging place to be. It's a challenging place to be when you have like romantic feelings for someone who's close to you and they're a little more, I don't know what the
But
word is, like
she like,
wispy.
yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. I'm pretty sure you probably been through it. It's like,
For sure.
do you hear
Yeah.
my clock? You
A
hear the
little
clock
bit.
in the background?
Mhm.
Okay, but it's not interrupting anything. Okay, but it's like it's like, I mean, nothing like too intimate happened, but lines were blurred. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So
yeah.
mind and
Good
body are
conversation.
confused. Like I'm talking going to sleep on the phone and shit. Okay, but anyway,
Yeah, yeah. Mhm. For sure.
but but okay, but now, I mean, she never threw me off my musical rhythm, but it's like I guess it gave me more of a drive, just to channel that energy into something healthy like music and not be
Exactly.
a red pillar or, one of the niggas who like, I don't know, shoots up a mall or something, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, no, definitely a lot of times like we want to have a romance with ourselves, you know. I know that sounds weird, but it's
mm.
like we're really looking for a deeper amount of self-love and appreciation for our own passions in life. And yeah, a woman can certainly be a muse to that, you know, and I think that's kind of exactly how you channel it. You channel those feelings, you know. So like I've written songs, you know, I wrote songs about my wife, and I've wrote songs about um, this girl named Kayla who I was really into for some time, and I wrote songs about you know, I've written songs about throughout, but this was throughout my life, you know, many different girls. But it's like, so yeah, I think that's really a great, healthy way to channel and release it is just to put it into a song or some automatic writing, some journaling. Um, but really just recognizing that everyone on the earth can be a soulmate of sorts. I know this sounds weird, but everyone can be a soulmate of sorts. We are all sharing this space together. And so romantic feelings like that you may have for somebody, it is totally normal if like you have a really good conversation with somebody, especially like that, and like
Hmm.
you can just talk to them forever. That's a very normal thing to develop feelings for them, but sometimes I do think it can be kind of like to the forefront of our mind a little too much. And
Right. Yeah, and
you know,
and I don't. Well, I'm at the point now where I can admit, like, you know, at some point it turned into ego,
yes,
right?
yeah. Mhm.
You're waiting on that chance. You have so much feelings for them, like, oh well, maybe one day. Which, you know, healthily, ambiguity is no.
Yeah,
To
for
my
sure.
fellas out there, what I'm saying, like, to avoid stress, like ambiguity means no. Okay, but yeah, like, but I feel like maybe some parts of me being a friend was blinded by the pursuit, you know.
Yeah.
So, you always
Yeah, I think it's a good message. If anybody's, any guys are feeling like that, if you feel like you've just been stuck on some girl for a long time and it's just not really developing, it's not really coming to fruition, well, um, I would say the answer is not to channel more into them. Really, you want to turn backward inwards, your own heart, your own passions. What are you most excited about in life? Don't say them,
Mhm.
because I'm talking about more like what can you manifest and create on your own to become the man that is going to attract exactly what you're looking for. That's I think that's when I met my wife, it was in a Bible study. It was funny enough. We're still working through all that stuff today.
No,
But
okay.
I, I what I really wasn't really looking for anybody, and I just noticed, like, man, here's a girl who talks to the most awkward guy in the room like they're worth $1 million. I saw her do that. I saw her talk to people who didn't really get a lot of attention, but she talked to them the same as everybody else, and that was very attractive to me. And I'm very, very grateful for what has happened through our marriage. And I've got a daughter, and we got a son on the way. So
Awesome, awesome. Just clap it up, man.
yeah, I'm really
All right,
grateful for that.
you
And
know.
this came out of nowhere. It wasn't something. I'm not saying that that's necessarily going to happen to everybody who's longing for that romance, but I would say
Right, right.
just turn it back around, turn the focus back around on yourself, and really kind of try to follow your passions, what you're most excited about. Try to keep a positive attitude. Try to not have too much expectations of what the universe is going to give you, but just try to enjoy the beauty of life as it comes. And I think that synchronistic moments really just kind of will work themselves out if you follow your passion. I mean, it's really a beautiful thing. I think anybody can enjoy it that way. And then
That
you will
was
naturally
beautifully
find those
said.
romances. Um, so
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say that's a strong finisher right there. Tree Frog, you got any shout outs before we jet?
hey, shout outs to anybody who's listening. I'm really grateful for you, or anybody who may watch on YouTube later on. I think that you are what make this conversation between two individuals really mean a lot more. You literally add meaning by just choosing to participate in it, and we're really grateful for that. So thank you so much, and peace out.
All right, folks, that's been our show. Thanks to Tree Frog for joining us. And please, 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 like we tell every guest, don't be a stranger. Please appear on more episodes. We also do chill streams on Instagram Live. So if you happen to feel like talking shit, pop on in. I would love to have you come on for more like faith discussions and more music discussions too. Yeah, this
Yeah,
would be interesting, man.
that'll be fun.
Thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoyed it.